It's good to go. Good to go.
Recording.
Yep.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Mayor Green is online, but since she's not in the chamber, she asked me to chair this meeting. So it's 6 o'clock, and I will call to order the regular meeting of the City Council for February 17th, 2026. Yeah. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Grant. Councilmember Carey.
Here.
Councilmember Dolick. Mayor Pro Tem Tharp.
Here.
And Mayor Green.
I am here. Also, Shannon Grant told me actually at our last meeting, she'll be unable to make it this evening due to other commitment with her other job. And Councilmember Dolick is, as I did, he's getting out of town early because of the storm, and he is going to try to join in if he can get service.
Mayor. I'd like to invite you all for an optional pledge of allegiance or moment of silence.
It's too bad.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Heads up. Good stuff. Next up, we got public comment on items not on the agenda. We got a little preamble here for everybody. Citizens wishing to speak to the City Council on issues not on the agenda are requested to raise their hand in the participants section of Google Meet or fill out the speaker form at the lectern in person. The chair will call on the public in order. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, not including City Council questions. Public comment is an opportunity for the public to share information or opinions with the City Council. The Council cannot engage in a conversation on the comments, nor can the Council debate any of the items, because we have to have on the agenda any discussions we're going to have, and so if it's something not on the agenda, we can't discuss it. So for any necessary follow-up action can be requested of City staff for matters that are on the agenda, which are not a public hearing at the discretion of the chair. Public input can be heard prior to a vote being taken on the matter. So with that, is there anyone in chambers who'd like to make public comment this evening? All right, Greg, go ahead. Come on up. And if you haven't already, will you sign in on the
I already did.
A+ work?
That's great. Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. This is, I've sent out a note to the mayor, city administrator, and city council members. Was it yesterday? I lost track of time. Recently. And this will be relative to that letter that I sent out to you. I'll have to preface this by saying this also caught me a little bit off guard. We had a meeting about a week or a week and a half ago, Main Street meeting, and the topic of that conversation was how businesses in town were really suffering. And part of it was lack of snow, something nobody could have anticipated. The loss of the Lopet. We have ski joring, which Duffy's confident he's going to pull it off. Great. Who knows how that's going to go? It's bad right now. It's really bad. So I took it upon myself, and then we had decided on an event, and we're going to have it on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We'll go into the details. Main Street will we'll be letting everybody know what that event is going to be. But I think it'll be very helpful for our downtown businesses. In the meantime, I took it upon myself to go talk to some businesses. Went to about 8, so it's not definitive by any means, but I talked to one business that's down 42% this year. Another one down 30, another one 28, another one 18. I've heard, I know of one, I'm not sure about the other one, 2 businesses that probably just aren't going to make it. And that's really, really too bad. And 2 businesses that may be prepared to declare bankruptcy. I talked to a lot of different people about a lot of different things and about the thing. Now, I referred to our 2020 effort to help businesses, but that problem was obvious. This one has snuck up on us. But I think it's just as possibly just as dire as 2020 because of the health of our downtown business community. So without getting into a lot of detail, I would like to encourage you to reach out to your businesses and try and make a determination. But I would say they need help now and they need it badly. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And sorry, Greg, would you mind stating your name for the record? If you live in
Greg
City?
Lobby, I live in the city of Leadville.
Thank you. Anyone else in chambers? I see Luke back there. Come on up.
I'm sorry, Steve, you're on first. You sure?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Evening, Luke Finken, 408 West 7th Street, Leadville, Colorado. Hope you all are well. Thanks so much for having me. I wanted to say thank you, first of all, to Andrew Cummins with the help for this most recent application for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which we are hoping you will talk about and approve in the consent agenda on March 17th at 4:30 in the afternoon. That evening, the Lions have passed the torch, as it will, on to the Silver Dollar. So the Silver Dollar will be serving the corned beef and cabbage from 5 to 7. It's going to be served a little bit like noodle night, limited numbers, limited amount. So be there or be square. Thank you to Leadville Main Street again for their help with our insurance. Please, Andrew, look for Amy Hall in the very near future with that updated insurance. The Leadville Irish Weekend, September 18, 19, and 20th of 2026. We're still planning on that to go. We had a big event last year. It was very successful. Lots of activities around town. Just got the news today. The mother and child statue is complete. The patina is 100% done. It should be getting up here. We'll see. And we'll put that in, when we can. Finally, I'd like to say, I'm not going to stick around, so I'm just going to say it right now. Leadville Ski Joint. I was so glad to see that on the very end of the application, there was something about trash service. If you remember from walking on Harrison Avenue last year, there was a trash can and next to it was a pile of trash equally as high. With this council always taking so much time with the Leadville Race Series, it's probably about time to think about seriously what you're going to do about trash for this event if it continues to be huge, because that was a ton, literally a ton of trash. Thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah, thank you. All right, Steve, you want to go next?
I'll leave it here.
Okay. Anyone else in chambers for public comment? Okay. Go ahead, Andrew.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. I thought I heard Luke say March 17th. I must have given him some wrong information. That is actually on the agenda for today, February 17th. I do apologize for that misinformation. But everything is all in the packet. So if you would like to stick around for that.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone online who'd like to make public comment? Okay. Looks like you're up, Steve. Oh, you're good. Okay. All right. Moving on next to our consent agenda. Does anyone have question, or if we want to discuss anything, we'd have to pull it off the consent agenda. So does anyone want to pull something off of it?
Can I ask a basic question about when we're not pulling it off the consent agenda?
Okay, guess not. Okay. In which case I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes TUPs such as the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Thomas makes a motion to approve the consent agenda. Carrie seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you for that.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you. Next up, we've got some department reports, and we will start with the city administrator, Ms. Simonson.
Great, thank you. Well, it's already in the newspaper, and Sir Lobby already announced the look that was canceled due to lack of snow. I think we will see the impact of some of these events upcoming in our sales tax. You'll hear later when I give the finance department report, we don't have the sales tax numbers yet from the county. They're a little later than we would normally get them, but we don't have those most recent numbers yet. But that was the first announcement. In a more upbeat announcements, Main Street did receive a $5,000 Department of Local Affairs grant through the Colorado Main Street program, whose purpose is to strengthen communities by assisting them in implementing the Main Street approach and helping to revitalize and preserve historic downtown areas through preservation-based economic development and community-led initiatives. So this is a annual grant that Main Street applied for and does receive. They need to be a part of the Main Street program to receive this. So congratulations to them. I appreciate all the work that they do in keeping our downtown Main Street vibrant. Let's see, a couple other things. I did send out the 809 Spruce housing packet that we put together, that Ms. Bree put together, to let departments know what available housing there is and the process for departments utilizing that and what paperwork needs to be completed. So if you didn't receive that, please let me know. A couple of other announcements about partner and entities and city-owned projects. The Tabor Opera House, happy to report that the phase 2 exterior renovations are completed. So that's huge. That grant has been closed out. So that was a multiple grants, but one of the main ones was the Department of Local Affairs. That's the Energy Impact Mineral Assistance Fund. That is a huge portion of the funding for that project. So we are happy to have that phase 2 grant closed out. Phase 3 will be the interior, but as you saw at your last council meeting, the Tabor Opera House Foundation is sort of reprioritizing projects, and because of the roof leaking, and because that would damage part of the exterior renovation work that's already been done, they prioritized the roof, which you approved the contractor at your last meeting. But this is great news that that exterior envelope is complete except for the roof right now, and it's just such a testament to the Tabor Opera House Foundation to do that work. And also, Councilmember Thomas is now a board member for the Tabor Opera House, and I was wondering if I could ask that if she could include in council reports just any relevant updates from the Tabor Opera House as they go along. I get the architects' reports, but I don't know if those are as exciting as sometimes the board reports. So
I'd be happy to. I go to my first meeting on Friday.
absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Wanted to pass along an update from the Chamber of Commerce. Norm Ryder has been elected the president. They are now up to 60 members of the chamber, and they are looking to hire some part-time staff at the moment to help them. And the Economic Development Corporation, they are also looking to hire, they are putting off hiring an executive director for now. They are focusing on hiring a sort of a business development director type position. And then I'm going to really put together before the end of the year a plan along with the chamber of how those entities will look. So that also ties into one of the other updates I'd like to give. So the mayor and I attended the Building Better Places conference last week in Grand Junction, and this was sponsored by the folks who are doing the One Community Project. So community builders and multiple other entities, towns, counties, cities were there along with us. So we were, the Leadville team was comprised of me, the mayor, Cameron Genling from the Economic Development Corporation. Norm Ryder attended as best he could remotely. I think that was harder on him to hear us. But also Ann Schneider from County Planning and Development, Travis Bryans, who's the county manager, Adam Ducharme in charge of County Economic Development and Tourism, and also Sarah Edwards, who was there on behalf of the EDC as well, and also Melissa Kendrick, who attended on behalf of county planning. And it was a really long 2.5 days, but really putting together a lot of things that are priorities for the community. And tying into these two announcements is that EDC and the chamber are committed to try and by the end of the year determine the path of what those organizations will look like and what the future holds for them in general as far as their structure and working together. So that's there are a lot of other things that we put on our short-term laundromat. If you want, I'll send you the video by the end. There was like all 4 walls covered with priorities for different entities over the next 2 to 5 years. So we can talk about those when we have more time, but very productive. A couple things I wanted to talk about though, coming out of that is sort of the differing approaches to economic development. So Clark Anderson, who's the executive director of Community Builders, talked about the differing approaches to economic development, and he identified mainly 3. One is attraction, so attracting new businesses through incentives or investment, specialization, i.e. investing in a single industry or a single driver of your economy. And the third is place-based, which is investing in your place-based assets, what your current jobs and industries look like, leverage things that make you strong and invest in them and strengthen them. And his analysis is that attraction can fail if you lose that industry, or it takes an incentive and goes someplace else, or takes incentives because some other community has offered them a better opportunity. They rarely see that it works. Oftentimes those big industries that are attracted leave and the investment is lost. Their analysis is that place-based economic development really is the best. So looking at what your attractions are, whether it's your buildings, your art, your physical assets, or food, or whatever it is, that his analysis of those were really more successful, and that generally jobs follow people. The analysis sometimes is the other way around, where people think that people follow jobs. But they had found that 70% of people who created a business already lived in the community that they started a business in. Well, then 30% of people moved into a community to actually start a business there. And 39% of people who they surveyed said that they, if they found an ideal community, that they would consider starting a business there rather than the other way around. So they also found that on relocation decisions, 83% of people were looking for the ideal community for themselves, and that's where they would locate and grow their own business or their own, jobs. And so a lot of that is one of the things we analyzed is how do you do place-based economic development, we did a tour of Grand Junction and their Main Street and how they've been working with their Downtown Development Association to make their downtown, like we are doing with Main Street, you know, not only beautifying it, but looking at ways to support our businesses and apply for, you know, encourage them and support them in applying for grants. And there's a lot more that goes into that, but I wanted to hit some of those highlights because I think that those things are helpful, especially when you have someone who has that kind of experience talking about it. The other point I wanted to talk about is there was an economist who spoke, and I think it's actually pretty helpful, some of the things he talked about. So Michael Schumann is an economist, is kind of credited for one of the architects of the 2012 Jobs Act. And he has worked on dozens of state laws overhauling securities regulation of all things, but also crowdfunding for economic development. So he had some fascinating ideas on that subject. But a couple of the things that he talked about is communities that will succeed. He talked about the effect of the trade war and the weaker dollar on businesses. And essentially that there's just a general losing confidence in our economy and in general, which I think will have a trickle down effect on us in general. But what he said is that those communities he thought would fare best are the ones who localize the fastest. And I think we are already there. So I think we are good in that sense of, his sense was those communities that rely a lot on federal funding are vulnerable. And so essentially, you know, in the sense of relying on federal funding and also relying on Wall Street. So we don't have investments in Wall Street as a municipality, but he was saying that, you know, given the volatility, communities that localize the fastest will fare the best. And so I thought, but we're actually doing pretty well at that. But he said basically, you know, pulling money from Wall Street, using the money from your own pockets, and that grants that we know, you know, obviously we know those grants will dry up. So I think in that sense, I think we're pretty well positioned. That was actually overall economic analysis made me feel like, you know, we're not in panic mode trying to figure out how we're going to survive without federal grants and without federal investment and without federal money. But he was a little bit of a downer. He did, you know, preface it with there's a lot of uncertainty and that will affect the economy. But those are just a couple of the highlights. There's probably more that we can talk about if we have more time. I wanted to hit a few of those, but definitely a really good development for the Leadville team. It was great to have the group together. We spent a lot of one-on-one time in our Leadville team trying to come up with ideas that we think would be achievable, like I said, within the next 2 to 5 years. So with that, I wanted to see, one more just announcement related to other partnerships. The county and the city received an email from the Core Transit. So that is Eagle Town's transit system. They offer a fare-free youth program for the transit they provide to and from through Leadville. And so they lost their grant funding for that, and they are trying to maintain that program without, but they're trying to maintain that program. So they were trying to get commitments from all the communities in the transit district. We are not in their transit district, but we also receive service from them. So we agreed, the county, Kenneth Bryans and I, $2,500 from each of us. So I hope that's it's not going to break the bank, but I think we both felt like it was a good investment to continue the fare-free youth program. Other entities are contributing substantially more than that, but we thought essentially Tanya Allen, who is the executive director, really wanted to go to her board with a commitment from all entities to say everybody's contributing to the success of this. So we will continue to have a fare-free youth program this year. You're going to hit on the joint work session.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see. So the other thing is, thank you all. We did not have a work session last Tuesday, and I sent a reminder to everybody. I think we all got into a habit of meeting every Tuesday. Poor Ally didn't know that we didn't meet every Tuesday. So, the good news is that we're hoping for a while that work sessions will become the exception rather than rule. You have one coming up that, our planning director will talk about, but otherwise, I think we are going to try and limit the every Tuesday meetings. We will not have work sessions, as far as I can tell, at all in March right now. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I've got a couple of questions on the Building Better conference that you and Dana attended last week.
Yes.
I heard you say that the chamber and EDC will have a path forward for their roles by the end of the year. Was there discussion about what role the city might play, if any?
Well, I think the idea was they were trying to figure out if they were going to do a regional model, a Bella Valley model, two distinct and separate entities. I think the county's position, at least as represented in that meeting, and my position has always been a very strong chamber and a very strong EDC are essential to our community. I think the city's role would be to provide whatever support we can for them, but their boards would need to decide what their structure looks like.
Okay, fair enough. And then do we or does anyone have utilization rate on the bus service? I'm just curious how many states can right now to use the bus routinely.
You know what? I actually may have that information in the email requesting the funding. I will double check, and if I don't, I'll send that to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Any other questions from Ms. Simonson? All
And
right,
if I get the answer before the end of tonight's meeting, if I can have just a moment after council reports, then I can provide that.
thank you. All right, well, next up, we have the street department, and Tony's out this evening, so is there anything you want to?
Yes,
Sure
unfortunately,
about that.
Tony is under the weather. Let me get his. So a couple things. You heard Ms. Danik come at the last meeting and express how much the snowflakes were appreciated. And I just want to thank Mr. Medina and the streets department for, I asked if we could put those back up, and they spent some time repairing them and working on them and getting them working. And so the snowflakes are back up. I think we might need to think about in a year or so whether or not they will continue to last, or if we need to invest in others. Because these are so great, Mr. Medina and his staff have been looking into other types of lights that we could have throughout the year, if that is of interest. We would have to budget for that, or we can kind of see how we can fare at the end of the year if we have money left over in Mr. Medina's budget. But it does, I think, if it brightens up the avenue, so we could consider that. But it would have to be something we would put in the budget, possibly for next year. And so as far as their weather, we have a smidge of snow. Mr. Medina and his crew was out, they were out plowing and sanding. If it snows like it potentially may, they will be out again tonight. And let me think other, I'm trying to think if there are other updates. I think that's it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to pass that along.
Any questions? Street department. Okay. Next up, we got the police department with Chief Trelka. Hey, Chief.
It was nice to see snow this morning. And I ride the bus. I don't ride the board, but frequently I'll take the free bus down to Frisco. And I encourage others to do that, because my fear is if enough people don't ride the bus, we may lose that option. And there are many people in our community that take the bus. So, we're staying busy. We're getting our cubicles together. Out of the 11 that we're going to set up, we have 8 set up. The street department has been very helpful. A couple officers that came in and helped set up the cubicles. In the past, the officers were working off from 2-drawer filing cabinets with pieces of particle board set on top of them. And I think that was the setup for years. So we're very pleased with how it all turned out. Once we get them all set up, we'll invite you in for an open house. We currently have 2 positions open. We lost our sergeant. He came here from Waterloo, Iowa, but, he just didn't want to be a cop anymore. He had done it for more than 30 years and, realized it was no longer fit for him at his age. So sadly, we lost our sergeant. So, and we have 1 officer deployed. We have 1 candidate in the police academy. So we're gonna see, and the problem we're short like that is I delegate a lot of the responsibilities of the sergeant. But still, it falls in my, I'm picking up many of the duties of the sergeant. I'm picking up many of the duties of our investigators with follow-up investigations. And we still need coverage out on the street. So we have nobody to cover the street. I go out there and cover the street. But I've adjusted my schedule accordingly. There'll be some days now where I'll probably take a Wednesday and a Thursday off because I'll be working on weekends. But we'll get through this. For the 1 open officer position we have, one of our CSOs is interested in becoming an officer. So we're going to send her to the police academy. My hope is in April. And before we post the sergeant's position, there's a couple other alternatives that we may take that I'm going to explore. I need a supervisor, I need a sergeant, but the last time we posted the sergeant's position, the only applicant we got was the applicant from my friend in Waterloo, Iowa. We didn't get any other applicants besides that. It's tough to fill these police positions. It's an interesting era. It's part of it's the economy, part of it's a law enforcement. I've been doing this for 35 years. We've taken a beating. And there are a lot of young people that have decided, that seems like a difficult job. I don't want to do it. I'm going to go be a firefighter or pursue a different occupation. We currently have about 4 fairly serious investigations we're conducting. 3 of them are felonies. 1 is a misdemeanor. 1 is actually the damage to our restrooms. We thought we had a potential suspect in that investigation, but it's not the person we thought it was. So we've got some things we need to pursue. I'm glad it's not warm yet because once it gets warm, then we get more bids and we get more calls for service. So, but you know, we're steady, we're plodding along, but we're getting there. I'm optimistic that hopefully, you know, I had told Councilmember Edwards that by April 1st, we're going to be set. I told him that 6 months ago. Well, sometimes it's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back.
You were for a little while.
Yeah, we were getting there. But, and I will now entertain any questions anybody may have.
Being a little bit short-staffed, do you intend to bring in extra people or people from other areas for events like ski joring?
You know, I'm cautiously optimistic we're going to have ski joring covered. For the whole event, there's going to be 4 of us counting to work in it. The sheriff's office will be available for us, and we're going to have both of our CSOs working. That's how many we had working last year for it. And there's little to few problems with this crowd. Yeah, we have some open intoxicant violations, but we get overwhelmed. We're not writing tickets. I'll be honest. We're not writing tickets for open intoxicants unless you're a fool. If you have an open container and you're acting a fool, you're going to get a ticket. And that's the philosophy we used last year. Yes, it's the ordinance that we can't have open intoxicants in the street, but when you've got 100 people out there, it's like spitting into the wind. So the dogs are our biggest concern. People bringing dogs into the event.
And I'll follow up on that. Last year, there were signs posted, but there were a lot of dogs at the event. Is the event themselves going to address that this year, or that can be left to law enforcement?
Duffy and I discussed it. He wanted more signs. I think the dog people were tearing the signs down. But, you know, I didn't see one single incident of a dog barking at a horse. And the people we approached who had dogs were pretty good about removing them from the boulevard.
Very good.
There was no argument. Because we were ready to cite that. If somebody wants to debate with us about having a dog in the event, we will cite them.
It's a big job.
Yeah. Any other questions for Chief Trofik? Thank you, Chief.
All right, you bet.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, on to the fire department. Chief Daly's online. Hey, Chief.
Hey, good evening, everybody. There was an inspection conducted at 422 Harrison Avenue. It's a new Thai kitchen restaurant, nice establishment. I have to do a follow-up on a couple of items, but for the most part, they're in service and operational. There is a waiver, now there's the waiver in place for all business owners to be able to renew on their licensing. So that'll happen through Ally's office, and the information's out there, and I think a lot of people are already following that process for that waiver for 1 annual year. The job descriptions are complete for the part-time inspector's position and also for the deputy admin positions. I'll be working with human resources in order to be able to have a post go out for those positions so we can fill those. We lost Justin Jacoby, unfortunately, to the U.S. Army Rangers. So I don't know if I reported that out, but it's a great loss for us. He was able to serve in multiple capacities with the fire department, as a firefighter engineer and as a captain with us. But I'm very happy for his next ventures in life. We hired a position, Josh Clark, but we also hired Stephen Alquist because of how that fell and the positions and how we moved people up. So we were able to hire off of our residency list for those positions. And then we have a promotional process that starts tomorrow for our engineer, an engineer process. And we have 2 candidates going for engineer status. A couple of problems with our apparatus just recently. Truck 1 had a fuel leak and the pump has an issue. The SUPFA needs a serpentine belt. The tender has an air leak, and the Pierce had a brake issue. And then there's a larger problem with the Pierce, and it has a valve cover leaking. And so the Pierce may have to go to Denver. But all of those other problems, what we have done is I've reached out to Chris Stromer. He works for Chaffey County Fire, and he's an emergency vehicle technician. And we're hiring him for his services to come up here and take care of some of these concerns of ours to keep us in service and operational and mission ready. Because it's just really expensive and it's time consuming, and we're out of service a lot when we have to send all these pieces of equipment out of district. Denver, Frederick, all those other areas. So I'm very happy that he's able to come and serve us in the time frame that he has. Now he has limited time, so we're going to schedule him out properly to be able to try to keep us in service. So excuse me. That's about all I have for this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Daly? Okay. We appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Next up, we got Human Resources with Ms. Fetters.
Hello, how are
Hello.
you today?
Good.
I just want to follow up. We finally have a little bit of snow and get more. So PD and fire department did mention about the open job position. I am working with Chief Daly on those 2 positions. We will have those posted soon. Next week is our employee meeting up at CMC, so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time, and everyone kind of gets to see everyone and match faces to names, because there's just so many people at City of Leadville now. And then we are starting our trainings at the end of May and June. I have had some people sign up, so thank you. I appreciate it. We will have 2 night sessions, and we will have multiple day sessions. So I just want y'all to know those are there. It is for council and employees. And then just moving along with the handbook and just trying to get trained and ready to go to the Tyler conference that is in a few months out in Vegas. So finance and I will be heading to there to get one-on-one training on that with Tyler Technologies. I'm excited for that new process. I hope it really makes our onboarding literally split. I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You're the employee handbook.
Yes.
It's a huge lift.
Yes.
And I know that it involves several other officers that you have to work with. Are you getting the support you need to be able to deliver second quarter on that?
Yes, that will be completed. That's at the top of my list. I have like a green, yellow, red, and that is my red because it's stop everything, do this now. So,
Fantastic.
it is on that red part of my list.
So not all just you, you're getting the support you need to get it done.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So the annual training, I signed up for May 18th. It's all day. So does that mean I'm done then?
Yes, once you, because we're gonna do all 3 trainings that day,
Okay.
not necessarily all day. I added extra time. I rather give you time back than take extra time. So that's for questions, things like that. If you saw the night trainings were a little bit less time because I figured not as many people would be there at night. But we will have food provided and it's actually really fun and you get to play off everybody's different opinions and things like that, or how to do this scenario. So,
Okay, very good. Thank you.
yes.
Any other questions?
I have one. Alicia, so did you send out a schedule for the trainings?
I did, and I can resend it to you. It's just a document with all the dates and you just sign up for which one you prefer.
Can
But I
you,
can
can you
resend
try
that.
to send that to me separately? For some reason, I'm being dropped from some of the group council
Yes,
emails. Thank you. I would appreciate that.
I will send it out again. So if you get that in your email and you already signed up, disregard, it's just my little, hey, here's this.
Yeah, I think in the email transition, some of that happened because I don't think I've gotten it either. And I was missing some emails from Ally and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, you might resend that to council only because a lot of our emails just changed.
okay,
I think I received one from you a few weeks ago, but if you sent out one recently,
yeah, I will do the onboarding, with IT to get you added to those groups. So I apologize, I wasn't right. That's why this is great that I find that out before it's too late. And I'm like, yeah, find out.
Anything else?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Alicia.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night and hopefully we get more snow tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope
Yes,
so.
fingers crossed.
Okay. Deputy City Clerk. Ms. Woody.
If you skipped animal shelter.
Skip animal shelter, goodness. Thank you. And Ms. Cusco is not with us this evening, so Lori, do you want to handle that one?
Yes, so, she, had a medical procedure yesterday and then has to leave at 5 in the morning to take a van of cats, and kittens to be fixed.
Van of
So she
cats?
has A van of cats.
Oh, all right,
Thanks a lot, cats.
Yeah, you can just visualize it.
buckle up.
Yeah, yeah, we're taking names for the van of cats.
All right.
Okay, so a couple things that she would like me to report on. The open house on the 15th was a great success. They had 40 people in attendance and raised over $1,200. So that's great news. You know, one of the things about the animal shelter's funding is that they, due to the funding cuts from the county, doing their own fundraising is going to be even more important for 2026. So that's fantastic news. Let's see. The animal shelter is in the process of hiring an assistant manager. That was the position that was approved in the 2026 budget. We are going to be making probably an offer this week. And there is a new part-time kennel tech who was hired, who started this past weekend. And that leaves one position still, full-time position still open as a kennel tech. And so that is still open, but otherwise they are, like police department, going to be hopefully almost fully staffed very shortly. So that would be fantastic news. And I think yeah, I think that's the update.
Okay, any questions on the animal shelter?
I have to say that she had Keelan's baby goat was there. And if you didn't go, you missed out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say.
Poor Nigerian, like this big, and he was a cuddler. It was
And
pretty
you
cute.
We have to say that you all have been missing out. The last, we have a department heads meeting every Wednesday after a city council meeting, and the last department heads meeting, we lost a half an hour of our lives because Caitlin showed up with baby goats. And so as you gave your department report, you had to hold the baby goat. And everyone complied. We even have a photo of Tony with the baby goat. Yes, and not to be upstaged, Ms. Fetters came in with a puppy after that. So, you know, the morale at City Hall has just never been better. But yes, and maybe if we can find them, we will share a photo of, it really looked like it had been drugged. It was adorable. Like the most well-behaved baby goat I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that, in the animal shelter, I think it's great that they do those. I mean, I think, you know, $1,200 is actually a decent amount of money for them, for their supplies. It's a, you know, and I also think just the community outreach and, you know, 40 attendees for anything these days in our community is a pretty good turnout. I mean, I know we've struggled to get folks to come to events and stuff. So anyway, kudos to the animal shelter for doing that. And, yeah.
Good to hear. Cool. All right, well, thank you. Okay, now on to Deputy City Clerk.
Good evening, council. During January, the clerk's department managed 6 different FORA requests. One of these was very complex and involved thousands and thousands of emails and attorney review, redaction. We've had a couple other that were quite sizable as well. So balancing these requests with daily operations is limited progress on some of the longer term projects that I'd like to be focusing on, like updating ordinances, resolutions, and everything on the website to prepare for becoming ADA compliant on there. Let's see, for business licensing, staff processed over 200 business licenses during the renewal season. We do still have late renewals coming in, but we have a lot of fire inspection waivers that are still pending. We're still reaching out and waiting on those in order to issue those business licenses. And there also are quite a few businesses that I notice are in operation and have not renewed their licenses. So once the workload allows, we will start beginning some compliance checks and monitoring those as well. I know Sarah, the prior deputy city clerk, had done some work there, so I'll be able to pick up where she left off. In terms of liquor licensing, we either renewed or in the process of renewing High Mountain Pies, Before and After, Tree Line, Scarlet. We did identify a recent hiccup in our background checks where the results of fingerprinting for liquor licenses are actually going directly to the state instead of to us, which is the correct process. We review those locally and we approve them for the state. So right now I'm working with CBI to establish our own fingerprint code so that we can properly review applicants' backgrounds and process liquor licenses in compliance with those statutory requirements. Along with that, we processed multiple special event permits for the Elks as well as Planned Parenthood. There are a couple more in there. And then we also worked with the state to determine that we're going to have a local only approval method for special event permits that occur in the right of way. So they're saying that the liquor licensing authority does have the ability to just say that's all good instead of needing state approval. In terms of short-term rentals, not too many updates. We are just preparing for the upcoming short-term rental renewal season. I've noticed an uptick in waitlist and just general inquiries as well. And then we also have a couple different Class 1 resident occupied licenses that are currently being processed. So we hope to issue those soon. And then we'll be communicating with the fire department moving forward for the safety checklist that we mentioned in last month's department report that will be kind of a workaround for you know, not having as much staffing for the fire department to do those inspections. So renewals only will be able to fill out this safety checklist and say, I've done this, this, and this. In terms of looking ahead, we'll continue to process business liquor, short-term rental, and marijuana licenses and try to address system issues and improve efficiency. We are moving forward with Tyler Technology as our licensing system, so that is really exciting. We'll be on board with HR, finance, all the other departments. So that is a longer implementation process, but I'm looking forward to working on it throughout the next few months. One last big update would be doc access, which is a contract we recently signed to make all of our documents on the website ADA compliant. There are some upcoming federal deadlines in April, so we're really happy to be, fixing our systems within that time to become compliant.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic turn of events, because I think initially when we talked about that, our content is ADA accessible right now, but it's documents that get uploaded like agendas, packets, which are very complicated. And we were initially quoted like $4 a page through Civic Plus. And if you look at some of our packets, it would have broken us to try and make those. So, Ms. Rudy found Doc Access, or they found us, and they are a much more economical approach to this. We had stopped uploading documents to some extent because we didn't want to upload things and then not have them be ADA compliant. So this has been an ongoing unintended side effect of this state legislation to require. Many municipalities are struggling with the cost of making documents ADA accessible. So this is a great turn of events that we can do this and something we can afford, and it will allow us to get up to date with what documents we have posted on our website. So it's fantastic news.
Good news, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Rudy?
Emily, you had mentioned an uptick in the wait list for short-term rentals. Do you know roughly how many people are on that wait list now, and how long people have to wait before they can get a license generally?
Absolutely. So right now we have 35 people on the short-term rental wait list. I will say, I think it's moved faster than I expected, because when I first started at the end of October, we only had about 19 people on there. So to me, that seems like a pretty big addition. With that many people having been added, when I came in, I was told 1 to 2 years. I have been telling people 1 to 3, just based on those extra 15 applicants or on the wait list. And we will have a better idea of what that number looks like once we get through short-term rental renewal period. So anyone who sells, anyone who doesn't renew their license, get back to us, or if, say, they have 3 compliance stripes against them, those are ways that they would lose their license, and an opportunity would pop up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have a related and unrelated question. I just heard that Chaffey County has put a moratorium on their short-term rentals as well. Does anybody have any information on what is driving that new moratorium? Any information at all?
Did Chaffey County try some sort of, and I'll have to research. There were several communities that tried to pass legislation, which failed. And so not sure if this is a reaction to the,
Yeah, I don't know.
I can find out, yeah.
It's interesting only because I know they did that a couple of years ago, and then came some kind of resolution, but maybe it was pending some litigation. I don't know, but it would be interesting to find out only because a new moratorium on that subject now is kind of interesting in our region. So.
Yeah, I know, just through, social media that there was a lot of pressure from real estate, businesses to not have restrictions. It's I think overall sort of what's happening in this industry is that the opposition, Airbnbs, VRBOs, whoever, perhaps it's, real estate entities are organizing opposition to many of the ballot measures that are put out there. So I think this is an update in a recent meeting. It was a recent CAST meeting that there is more organized opposition to these So, you know.
Or almost opposition to limited short-term rental license.
Yeah, and one of them being the tax on short-term rentals, right? So increasing the lodging tax or putting in place the lodging tax. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was a presentation by Magellan Strategies. Their president was talking about, you know, ballot measures that succeed or fail and the, you know, sort of what works and what doesn't. And he said, you know, used to be that the opposition wasn't as organized and now they're getting organized to some of these because.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Nice presentation.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, we got community development and planning.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I'll have a just comparatively short update for you tonight. Sending out some main categories of upcoming development applications that you'll be seeing. Just quick update on legislative items that you'll be seeing in the coming months. Update on our e-permitting status and your commissions, and then just some other categories. You've heard me mention at the last update a month ago on some of the development applications that will be coming before you. I have one additional. You'll have a variance application coming up in April. So you'll need to convene your board of adjustment, which are 5 of the 7 city council members. And that is for a new single family residence that was unfortunately built into a side yard setback. And we caught that at prior issuance of the CO. We require a survey, standard procedure. We discovered that the house has been built into the setback based on that survey. That'll be a unique variance application. I've only worked with you on one other variance application since 2022. Just a note, you'll have an upcoming convening of your board of adjustment. And then the 3 other main applications that will be coming before you in upcoming meetings will be the Beehive building demolition on Harrison Avenue. That's 506 Harrison Avenue, and proposed new construction. That's a certificate of appropriateness that HPC will be hearing a public hearing next week, and then that will be coming to you afterwards. And then also at the 2 meetings from now, a conditional use permit for the affordable housing fourplex that we just recently approved the development agreement for first. Regards to legislative items, you'll be hearing the wildfire resiliency code tonight. And then in terms of your comp plan, we are still looking at April and or May for formal adoption through Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council for your joint comprehensive plan. And then the latest update on the building code update. So the International Code Council set of building codes that's under review by the Lake County's Board of Review right now. And we are looking at coming to you for first reading in April, including that process in May. In terms of e-permitting, just a final update on that. This will be my last update. We are fully live and we have multiple applications, including the ones that I mentioned, that have been submitted by applicants on their own, virtually, online, and we are now fully live processing those permitting applications. Update on your Historic Preservation Commission. You have, we're all caught up to date on minutes. We've included a lot of minutes in your packet just so you have the opportunity, if you wish, to kind of scan and see the content of what's being discussed at those meetings, work sessions, public hearings, etc. And happy to announce that we 4 of our Historic Preservation Commissioners attended the state Historic Preservation Conference in Denver, along with staff last week. That was lots of lessons learned there. And wrapping up here, I will be bringing the Department of Local Affairs DOLA grant application for 2 years of funding for a planner position to you at an upcoming meeting. And I think that pretty timely because we are, I think, booked out until May right now in terms of permit applications and meetings. I'm really not taking any meetings for the next month or 2. We're definitely booked out. So I'd be happy to take any questions, but that's my monthly update.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. LaChance?
You're a pretty good job at it.
All right, thank you.
You're just not seeing all the balls laying on the floor.
Okay, on to the financials.
Okay, well, Ms. Hewlett had every intention of being here today, but due to weather, She is, stuck. I don't even know, at TIA potentially, we don't know. So I'm happy to give, finance department update. So the initial meetings with Tyler Technologies have gone well, and that, implementation is lengthy, but is so far on track. You do not have the sales tax numbers in your packet because we do not have them yet from the county. And let's see if there's anything else that was relevant that is not in your packet. That is it. Those are the additional updates that I have for you. Oh, and one last thing. I'm going to tack this on. I did find the number of youth who used the free transit. It was, let me see here. The number was 190. So Ms. Allen had provided that in the initial email that through the winter season, they averaged around 190 free youth rides a month in Leadville. They didn't have good numbers for the summer yet. But they had added some midday trips, so that may impact that number. And then the onboard youth fare prior to eliminating it was $2.
So that's a pretty good return on our $2,500 investment.
I would say it's a no-brainer.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Thanks
can
for
you talk
finding that.
about sales tax numbers a little bit more? I know we don't have any new ones to look at, but just harking back to former Mayor LaVey's comments. I guess when can we expect to see those numbers, and does it prompt a larger discussion on steps that the city might take to try to support our business district?
Yes, so I was looking at the sales tax numbers that came in from the county last month, and it looks like they had come in around the 14th. So yeah, let's see. No, I'm sorry, the 13th. So, you know, we're a few days behind where we would normally get them. We don't have any control over when we get the numbers from the county. So I would expect that they would be in shortly. And so, you know, we're 2 months behind. So if the numbers we get are really sales that happened 2 months prior. So that's, you know, I think if businesses are indicating that they're having to please now, the sales tax numbers might not reflect entirely that picture. You know, I think one of the things that we are hearing from other communities is that when people had reservations for an event or something, they come anyway, even though there isn't snow. So for example, over the holidays, many communities saw a bump in sales tax because people came for their pre-booked vacation, and because there was no snow, they shopped instead. So, you know, I think it's unknown what effect this is having, but hearing from some of these businesses, you know, I think maybe the sales tax numbers we're going to get may not tell the complete picture. But I certainly think that, you know, I think the model that we had used previously with, you know, like the Lake County Community Fund being the manager of, you know, funds that come from the city for whatever purpose is a better model. We don't have a model right now to create a loan or grant program. We have no ability to vet candidates. I think one of the concerns we had previously with giving money was, how do we know it was well spent? We don't have any look back about what the money was used towards. And this is true. I don't think we've ever done it directly to businesses, but for just nonprofits. And the thinking about that, we don't really have a system. I think it is something that would be a good fit for an EDC or a chamber, but I don't know that they're positioned to do that right now either. But I think if you had a program like that, you would need an application system. You would need a vetting system, you would need criteria for vetting, you'd need a committee to vet and make hard decisions. And then you'd need a reporting process and some type of accountability about how the money is spent. So we don't have any of that. So to create that kind of a program right now, I would tell you, we wouldn't have the ability to turn something around that quickly with our existing staff. So I think
I would like to offer that there might be alternatives to a grant program. Maybe we can accelerate expenditure of the ARPA funds, which has been on our list of things to do for a while to help promote economic development. Maybe we can accelerate some grant giving through the LURA, which we talked about just yesterday. We were talking about doing some grants in 27, but maybe that could happen in 26. Maybe there's something the city can do to support programming planned by Main Street to get people downtown. I think there are alternatives to a grant program, because I agree with you. I think a grant program would be very difficult to stand up.
Yeah, and here's what I was thinking about is like, you could, we do have the community contributions program coming up at the end of March. So if there was an organization who wanted to do something like that, that is the perfect opportunity for them to come to the city and us to fund them to do that type of a thing.
We don't have much in that pot.
Yeah, but I mean, it is 10,000 per, per round, per cycle. So, I think if an entity came in and like last time we didn't have it, we had a number of applicants. We haven't been as oversubscribed, I think, as maybe we expected, but if someone came in and said, we will manage this time around, and this is the plan we have for it, and we could, direct that money there. I do think, accelerating contributions in other ways might be a good idea. I think it's kind of hard for us because one of the things I think that we would love to see from the EDC and the chamber, whoever takes this role, I think it's more appropriate actually for the chamber, is the state of the businesses. We get, as Mayor Lottie said, he did in a very informal, we need that research on a regular basis. And we've made that very clear that is key information that we don't get through the sales tax numbers, and we don't have any way to get. We are not allowed to ask. So that information would be critical for the chamber to gather from their members at least, and like their health. And I think that's a critical thing the chamber could do, is to say, this is what, because we hear anecdotally 8 businesses would like X. Sometimes we hear from less than that and we think, uh-oh, and maybe it's not necessarily, and I've said to the chamber, like, if you had your finger on the pulse of the business community, that would be really helpful for us, because we other than me doing my informal how's business, we don't really have that information about really, is it true that lots of businesses are down? I would suspect that if they're saying that, maybe it is, but I would love to have the chamber. And then also, like, here's a proposal. Here's something the city could do to help solve that.
Two questions or 2 points. The chamber did come to us in December with a funding ask, which Rebecca had mentioned, and they did have a plan for making it city and county-wide, whether you were a member of the chamber or not. So that part of the presentation has already been made to us.
It was
initial ask.
Yeah, it was well, I guess that one of the topics that was covered at the conference last week is what the chamber is doing only available to members, and I think that they had been saying yes. So that is what is unclear to me.
What they said specifically was that they would make it to the entire city and county, any business and regardless of chamber membership, and they made that very clear in their initial ask. Second, so funding for that and having that funding put forward, I think would be mutually beneficial. Something we've discussed and something we've already received a presentation on, and something that's been being put off since December. Secondly, you mentioned that early in the season, so this is October and November, you're right. A lot of people who had made their vacation reservations, even though there wasn't any snow, continued to come, and so there was a benefit on Harrison Avenue. But that changed in November and December, and then again in January. As we continued to get no snow and people knew there wasn't any snow, those vacations were canceled. And so there have been lots of reservation cancellations and lots of empty spots that we've had just because of the season that we've had. So that dynamic has definitely changed as we've gotten farther into the season.
Yeah, and I think the follow-up from the chamber, you may have received it, was, Ms. Bailey reached out and I requested a meeting and she never followed up on that. So what I wanted to do is give her that feedback that, you know, as far as the county's concerned, as far as the city's concerned, it cannot just be funding that is going towards the membership base.
Of course.
And I also think that the ask for the chamber was for business after hours and just general. I think this would be more specific to a grant / loan program. So I think if, you know, I can reach out to Ms. Bailey again and see if she's willing to meet with me, but the ball was in their court as.
Would that be
I think it would be
now?
Norm at this point.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
President, yes.
Yeah, and I can renew that and just find out, you know, give them this information from this discussion.
Yeah, at least in my mind, and hopefully in council's mind, that would be an
Yeah,
excellent way to start to try to get a pulse on what's going on.
good thought. Let's go to the mayor next online. Mayor Green, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think Lori already partially addressed this, but some of the heartburn that came from the chamber's request last time was, would the money be going to things that, you know, would actually, you know, like they may be good and they may support some networking, but would they really be effective and a good use of taxpayer money? However, as the city administrator mentioned at the conference we were just at, Norm was talking very earnestly about wanting to start a revolving grant program, or revolving loan program, actually. And I think that, again, that to me would seem to be an appropriate place to put taxpayer money to support the businesses, because otherwise the optics are, you know, we're supporting parties.
Did you say an appropriate use or an inappropriate?
It would be, I support the idea of helping the chamber fund a revolving grant or revolving loan program, rather.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think a relevant data point here on page 111 of our packet, if we look at the accommodations tax, the past 2 years, respectively, 2023 and 24, we brought in December 61,000 and 68,000 in accommodations tax. For 2025, we brought in 45,000. And so I think that's probably indicative of some of our lodging numbers for December that
Yeah.
probably support what you just said, Joey, around the,
And that kind of a 30, 35, 40%
yeah,
is about what it visually is what I've seen.
right. Now, I also heard Adam Ducharme say that our visitation, like the cell phone metadata downtown, is up quite a bit, which might be people coming from the resorts because the snow sucks.
Well, and that's one
this-
more thing. Once
Yeah.
again, as the shop, we are getting visitors and we are getting day visitors. They're all front range people. We're not getting out of town.
Interesting.
We're not getting long range out of town. We're getting short range out of town.
And
Lots and
clearly
lots of
the-
Denver and
Yeah.
Springs and, but farther out than that, people are just not spending the money for a ski vacation right now,
Interesting, yeah,
which would absolutely affect your accommodations.
totally. All right, well, any other questions or thoughts on the financials? All right, sales tax we talked about, and on to the bills. Any questions about the bills we've paid?
If there are no questions, I'd recommend to pay the bills.
Thomas seconds.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you to all the department heads for your updates. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight. Next up, we are on to our presentations, which agenda item 8A is a presentation from Interstate Parking on a potential city parking permit program.
So we had communicated to them that on our agenda, that presentation is at 7:45. And so that's what they're planning on. So I think we should put something else, like move the order of it, because they are tuning in after returning from a trip in Denver. So I know they are planning on it, but they're thinking it's 7:45.
Okay,
We were more efficient than we expected.
turns out, okay. Well, I'm open to input on this, but should we move agenda item 9, the executive session?
Yes.
Be
So
about
now-
30 minutes, wouldn't it?
Okay. So, for folks in chambers who've arrived, we have an executive session on the books here, which means we will leave these chambers and go upstairs, and that part of the meeting is not open to the public. We need to get some legal advice. So then we'll return from that and we'll get into the presentation on parking around at 7:45.
I wanted to note, also, because you guys moved really quickly, City Attorney Graham is going to come staff your executive session and then have the rest of the meeting. She should be available. She said she was free, but also a little quick for her. I've been texting her. She has been in touch with me, so she should be here, but there might just be a slight delay when you guys get up there, and I'll be hanging out until then, but she's really the one who's got the information for you guys for that. Too efficient tonight.
Ever.
I like to go fast. Okay, well,
She's coming. She's on her way. She's on her way now, so you guys should be good to go.
yeah, okay. So now we'll get into the executive session. Mayor, are you prepared to make a motion to go into executive session?
I am. I move that we hold an executive session pursuant to CRS 26-6-402 4B for a conference with an attorney defending the city for the purpose of receiving legal advice on a specific legal questions related to litigation that has been brought against the city.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Thomas seconds.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dolan? Councilmember Grant? Councilmember Carey?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Green?
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that the motion passed unanimously. We are now in executive session. Please end regular meeting recording. Yeah, please end the recording, and then Ally, you'll handle the breakout room. Okay, thank you.